Hey, welcome back to the mythology channel. I am Ramona. Today's Reddit story is a little different. We're going to try something a little bit different, just to see how it goes over, see if people like it. If you do or you don't, please leave a comment down below so I'll know what to do. This is an abduction story, an alien abduction story, from the OP. So we're going to read it and read several of the comments afterwards and just go from there, okay? I'm very nervous to post this, but I think it's time to share my story. I've been following the drone activity in New Jersey and the increasing UFO sightings around the world. I don't know if I'll have a chance in the future. When I was 8 years old when this happened. It was in the middle of the night and I woke up to use the bathroom. As I walked down the hallway, I suddenly felt an invisible force pulling me backwards. It was like walking into a wall of plastic wrap. Every inch of my body was being pushed back and I couldn't fight it. I blacked out for a few seconds, and when I came to, I was floating up above the ceiling. Towards the ceiling. There was a bright light surrounding me, but I could see darkness all around me. It felt like the light was focused directly on me, while everything else beyond it disappeared into shadows. I tried to move or to make sense of what was happening, but before I could, I blacked out again. At some point, I saw white mice. I'm not sure where I was or how they appeared, but I remember them clearly. I think I saw them while I was being moved to the room and ended up in, but my memory was very foggy. The next thing I remember, I was in a strange room. My wrists and ankles were bound in a chair, but it wasn't a normal chair. I felt like the chair was part of the floor, molded into it. The entire room had a silvery look to it, but what stood out most were the veins of gold light running through the walls. The walls weren't smooth. They had a textured, almost stone-like surface, but it wasn't stone. The veins of light were embedded within them, and glowing in uneven patterns. They branched out like the veins on a leaf or the lines in marble, but they weren't still. The light pulsed, getting brighter every few seconds before dimming again. With each pulse I could hear a faint whooshing or humming sound, like the room was alive. The room was large, but the size of an elementary school gymnasium. Straight ahead of me was a large window. It didn't look like regular glass. It was more like liquid, constantly rippling and shimmering. The surface had a gray, metallic look, almost like mercury, which it seemed solid, but it was always moving. Behind the window I could see shadowy figures. I couldn't make out any details, just dark shapes moving back and forth. The shadows weren't clear enough to tell me what they looked like. It was as if they were observing me, but I wouldn't be allowed to see them. After the abduction, I woke up in my hallway as if no time had passed. It was as if everything had been a dream, but I knew it wasn't. I ran into my parents' room, screaming. The aliens are trying to get me. They calmed me down, and I eventually fell asleep between them, feeling safe. My mom still talks about how terrified I was of one of the aliens when I was younger. She says I had to sleep with them for a long time because of how scared I was. But the only memory I have of it was of that encounter. To this day, I'm still afraid to watch alien movies, and I sometimes get scared at night. I'm 36 now, but I feel like I would still carry the weight of that fear. I feel like I have PTSD from it. Everyone I've told, including therapists, think that I experienced a traumatic event and created these memories to cope with the trauma. I completely disagree with all of them. What do you think? And here are some of the replies. I believe you. Though I have no conscious memory of anything, my whole life I've had this crippling insomnia stemming from some strange, misplaced terror. When I turn off the light and try to go to sleep, I'm just afraid. It's very specific fear, like something otherworldly is coming to get me. I was never abused, kidnapped, or anything as far as I know. I had two loving parents growing up, and nothing bad like that ever happened to me. I've had many UFO sightings throughout my life, some of which were with corroborating witnesses, and I do have photographic evidence. Sorry about that. I thought about doing a hypnotic regression, but I haven't mustered up the courage yet. I have a feeling I'll discover something incredible. And someone replied with, That's exactly how I've been my whole life. I have this overwhelming fear that I can't explain. I had a halfway decent childhood. I've never been abused. I've never had any super traumatic events happen in my life. I've seen UFOs many times over the years. These sightings happened all over the world that are really starting to freak me out. I still want to visit Roswell, New Mexico. Something has always been drawing me there. They ask, can you post this photographic evidence? They have not yet, though. I believe you. Something similar happened to me. I believe you as well. Thank you for sharing. I had an experience when I was about 10 years old. I couldn't sleep alone in a room by myself for years after that. I even preferred sleeping on the same bed with my family members. I was terrified that I would open my eyes and one of them would be standing there. Even though it was just an image of a gray, it makes me go into fight or flight. I am intensely drawn to the subject. My experience was not as intense as yours, but it still left me traumatized. There are many of us out there like this, but we don't speak about it in real life. Thank you for coming forward and talking about your experiences. It takes courage, but by doing so, you are paving the way for anyone around you who has been through something similar to feel safe enough to share their experiences too. I'm sad to hear how this was dismissed by various people that you have told it to, although I believe it has some merit to investigate the ends initially. If that isn't fruitful, then why on earth discuss it at any point? I think what many of us struggle with PTSD from this happening to us at a young age. Some kids have had bad experiences getting vaccines, that it becomes a lifelong debilitating phobia of needles and injections. Something as mundane and regular medicine. Is that frightening? Certainly. I'm sure that there are a lot of merit in sharing your story when it comes to addressing the fear. By doing so, you are speaking it into existence, creating a permanent record. Acceptance can help you cope with the fear. I believe the abduction itself is inherently traumatic for most people, according to many testimonies of the people who are able to remember the occurrence at all. I think what causes so much turmoil and pervasive fear is how our social groups around us handle it interpersonally. It is a terrible thing to go through this without being able to share it with anyone and be believed. Living in denial as a result of that can be incredibly unhealthy for our minds and by consequences our bodies. This goes for any traumatic, shocking event. Death is an inevitable reality for everyone, but when family members try to protect children from it, it can cause confusion and misdirected fear that results in very unhealthy patterns of thought for life, for example. In my opinion, it is a step to speak the truth openly, given that you are aware of and accept all the consequences, or choose to do so in a way that limits those negative consequences. Whatever happened to you, you will find that many, many people have gone through it too. You are not only setting a public example for those who are unsure about coming forward or accepting the experiences at all, but you are also opening a line of connection between yourself and others that you've never had before. This may provide you with a lot of relief. That relief can fuel your recovery to free yourself from fear. You don't have to go all in with the metaphysical stuff or try to contact otherworldly people to do that. Regardless, I invite you to embrace your fear rather than trying to rid yourself of it. It sounds like you don't deal with many disruptions in your daily life, but if you do have these, please consider what I'm saying. We can't just get over such a primal fear or phobia by willpower and desire to do it alone. I was always afraid of the dark. I couldn't sleep in a dark room most of the time. Many other very disruptive symptoms. My unhealthy ways of pushing away the fear never worked. In the last 3 or so months, I've been working very hard on embracing it, and that has provided so much relief. However, my phobia, or PTSD, I do have diagnosed PTSD, but not specifically from this, was an admittedly severe lifelong struggle. If you want anyone to talk to about what you feel you went through, or just message me, or if you want to hear what has helped me heal without feeling afraid, we believe you, and just know that it is. I hope you reap some benefit from being more open about what you went through. I had a visitation in February. I would probably think it was a weird dream that seemed almost real if there wasn't more to the story. I think they may have come to help prepare me for a battle for what's coming soon. Possibly change to a therapist who is more open-minded. Also, have you thought about finding a hypnotherapist who specializes in this? Try not to be afraid. The white mice you saw are Frankie and Benji, super intelligent beings who are searching for the answer to the ultimate questions of life, the universe, and everything. I want to share mine. I used to love going camping with my dad in the Blue Mountains of Oregon, but after one weekend, I was 9, I was terrified to go camping again. I also had a 3-inch scar, perfectly healed, appear on my chest. My fear of camping lasted for years. During this time, I was also irrationally afraid of the idea and imagery of aliens. Fast forward to me at 20. My then wife and I were sitting on the couch watching television when a scene of lights coming from woods playing on the movie we were watching. My pupils dilated and I see everything that happened that weekend when I was 9. My father, our dog, and I were asleep in the tent. I woke up and saw light around the tent. I opened up the zipper thinking the fire was still going and was going to go put it out. No fire, just light coming from the woods around us. I tried waking my father, but him and the dog wouldn't respond. I stuck my head out of the tent and blacked out. When I woke up, my vision was kind of blurry and I was in a bright room. There were a couple of people looking down at me and doing something. I couldn't feel my body, and I blacked out again. This memory was blocked from my mind for 11 years. And they replied with, "Your dad and dog were probably switched off until you were brought back." This is a common technique used by aliens according to some researchers. The worst thing is that you can't defend yourself. They use some technological device which can dismantle their bodies and recreate it inside closed spaces like a building. They also dismantle and recreate the abductee's body outside the house, and after that they bring you to the craft by some sort of laser beam. Sometimes ghost phenomena is caused by aliens because abductees think their bodies are walking, flying through physical objects or ghosts, but in reality, they are aliens. Maybe there's a cope with trauma, but it can't be an abduction. Your story has a lot of common elements with cases of other people. The white mice scene can be a false memory or a fragmented memory of a memory planted in your mind by the abductors. Possibly the beings took you more than once, but you simply can't remember. I think you should not want to remember if this stuff causes you PTSD. Your experience contains data that has been corroborated by thousands of other anecdotal experiences, specifically your description of the chair being part of the floor and the stone-like material that isn't stone. These are hallmark descriptions of the inside of crafts, and serious experiences describe it in similar ways. If you want help coping with the idea that your experience is likely real, then I have this to say to you. You could theorize all day about the nature of the individuals that may have taken you, what they were doing, whether they were good or bad. The more research you do and the more you analyze the experience and the data concerning the phenomenon, the closer you come to the truth, which is this: you do not have enough data to come to any conclusion whatsoever, good or bad. Embrace this truth fully and optimistically. So there you go with that video. Interesting, true experiences are, what they believe is true. Whether you believe it or not is up to you. Let me know down in the comments. But also, if you don't mind, let me know down in the comments if you like stories like these. Maybe more personal encounters, less advice and that sort of stuff. But anyway, thanks for listening and watching. Go check out another video. There's plenty here on the channel. And we'll talk to you later. Bye.